everyone, and welcome back to the studio here in sunny Northumberland. It's beautiful out there, middle of summer, so it should be. Now, today, even though I'm in Northumberland, we're going across to the Lake District. And this is a little bridge. And I've got it on my phone because I can zoom in better on my phone. There you go, that's the actual picture. Lovely bridge. And a little building.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Those were words of wisdom from she who shall be, what are we?
I don't know.
Obeyed. That's the one.
Let's get on with it.
Yeah. So I'm starting off with the bridge here. I've taped just the top and the bottom as normal, so that I can come across as far as I want, either side, and then I'll tape off the sides. That's scale language. Here's the top of the bridge there. Bit of a bumpy top, because it's an old stone bridge. Coming here. And again, bumpy. And that carries on there, slightly lower than the top. The only problem about doing it from my phone, I like doing it from my phone because then you can just kind of like zoom in and pick up bits that you want. The only problem with it is you have to keep tapping it because it keeps going off.
There is a setting for that.
There is a setting, is there?
To stop it happening.
Okay.
A bit technical for you though.
Far too technical for me. And a bit more here on the top of the wall. And then here, about there. I've got the arch of the bridge coming in there. There's a bit of an angle on this. A bit further there, and then we've got like stone bits there, which I don't need to draw, but I'm just showing. Here, I've got some grass coming in, because in this one there is grass and there is a path. And there. And just at the base of that we've got some grass coming up there. And a little bit of the bridge there. Straight line. And there'll be some stonework underneath there as well. And that's a little bit of the river. You can't really see much of it in this photograph, to be honest, but I know it's there. Now, above the top of that is the road, below the top of that is the road that goes over the bridge. Just a little bit there. And a wiggly bit there. Wiggly bit, that's another technical term, Gail.
That's one I know well.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the bridge at the other side of the road there.
Can you remember where in the Lake District this is?
Sorry?
Can you remember where in the Lake District this is?
Ash something bridge.
Oh.
Mm. I'll tell you when I look.
Okay.
I'll have a look in a minute because I've got it written down. Because as you know, I'm very keen on documenting things.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You're just agreeing with me there, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Got a bush coming out there. And now, this is what I'm talking about, zooming in. You wouldn't actually look at that and think there's anything the other side, but if you zoom in, look, you can see just a little bit of road. And there's the road just at the other side of the bridge, as it disappears there. And I've got a bit of grass grows here on the other side of that bit of road. And then it will disappear there. And now, above all of that, what a little house. It's a little house on the prairie, man. It's the top of the roof. Actually, it's more of a barn than a house, is this. There's the base of the roof. And the other end of the roof there. And a little bit there. And there's a little chimney just on the end. Actually, I don't know if that is a house or a barn. Why would they have a chimney in a barn?
Might be a converted barn.
Mm. Yuppified, you mean?
Mm.
There. And now more bushy bits there. And by the way, people, the feedback that we get on YouTube, I'm terribly sorry if you haven't had an answer. It's just that there's been a bit of a cock up in some way, and we don't know how. I used to, whenever there was feedback on YouTube, I would get an email saying feedback on YouTube, and then I would answer that. 2 barn doors here. And now we're not getting those emails for some reason. Don't know if it's YouTube or whatever. So basically, I'm just seeing the emails from the latest YouTube video. I'm not email, sorry. I'm seeing the feedback from the latest YouTube videos, because those are the ones that I look at. Because you can imagine, with 120 videos on YouTube, which is what we've got, 120 something, if I were to look back at every comment, I would have to look back at every comment of every video to see if anybody had put any new feedback on. So I'm just looking at the new ones. I hope that makes sense. Does it make sense, Cal?
Yes, it does. I don't know why you're not getting those emails.
No, neither do I.
I've looked at all the settings, I can't see. If anybody's got any suggestions, it'd be
Yes,
handy.
please get in touch if you know what's happened. And a little bit here. That's a very loud jet, isn't it?
It's a bit low.
And now here's some distant trees. So a big one there. And then some big ones here. Big means that they're bigger than big.
Very big then.
Very big, yeah. Big. Don't be pedantic, Gail.
Gigantic.
Did you like that, pedantic?
Yeah. Is that your latest comic?
I'm a master of words, me. Sorry, master of words,
Is
me.
that your latest comic?
Yeah. Bless your cheek, actually. And another big tree there. I went on to the toast video. And a few twiggy bits in that will show. More twiggy bits there. Twiggy bits with a technical term. And more greenery there, which will be brighter. And that is the drawing about done. There, drawing done. So that's the tape on either side now, and so that's the sides of the picture. Time for a big sky, but importantly, got a lot of trees in full foliage here. You're going to see gaps in in that foliage, so make sure you paint the sky through the trees. You don't want big white bits sticking out. They might be some white, but not big clumps of it. Lots of water coming down into the trees there. Do nicely. And just ultramarine blue. Very, very simple sky on this one. Just ultramarine blue. Plenty of water into it. Bash that on. Full of technical terms today, yeah.
I know, excelling yourself.
Bash it on. Going down through the trees.
That's just ultramarine blue.
Just ultramarine blue. Nothing more. Push out, squeeze out, mop up. And we'll have a few clouds in there. Not too many. I nearly started humming then, yeah.
Careful.
Don't want people to leave already. Well done that. Back up again. Just let that run for a second or two. And then reinstate the top of the cloud. There, look. This is a 1.5 inch wash brush. As you know, I use aquafine brushes, and these are aquafine paints.
And you have to do that while the paint's still wet, don't you?
Yes,
Or you'll get cauliflowers.
Well, you can take out when it's dried,
Yeah.
but obviously it's not as easy as doing it while it's all still sopping wet. And yes, you're right, you do stand the chance of getting cauliflowers if you're not fairly quick with it.
Yeah.
So yes, well pointed out, Gail. Basically, you're just
Classic
saying that
rookie
I
error.
forgot to tell them that.
No, I'm just saying.
And that's it really, sky done.
As
not
I'm
gonna
a
fiddle with
rookie. It's a classic rookie error.
that. And now the sky's all kind of dry, but dry enough anyway. And in the interest of research, Gail's just looked at my scribbles to find out the name of it. And what is it, Gail?
It's Athness Bridge.
Is that Ashness?
Ashneth. Neth. Ashneth. 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 Well, I can't remember.
Ashness Bridge,
Okay. In Keswick.
near Keswick.
Near Keswick. And it's one of the most famous pack horse bridges.
And now it's about to become infamous. Now I'm going to have...
I think it's in the world. In the world.
I'm just deciding where I want my light coming from here. So I'm going to have it here. That's a little bit of sand. And I've changed to my number 8 round brush now. Bit of Charles Evans sand. Bit in there. Bit in there. A bit down there. Now, a little bit of yellow ochre. Plenty of water into it. Bit there. Drop that on there. Now, a little bit of raw umber. Drop that on that side there. So you've got a clear light side and a dark side. Easy, innit? And at that kind of distance, And the dogs have decided to start and kill someone now. At that kind of distance, I'm not going to mess about with stone bits. I'll leave that for the bridge, which is closer. God, what kind of dog is that of yours? Now, raw umber with a tiny touch of burnt sienna into it. There. Use that for the roof. Don't anybody write in and say, in the Lake District they don't have that stone colour. Well, they do now. Because have you noticed, by the way, I've now put the photograph away.
Oh yes, so you have.
Yes, so I have, you see. My phone's now back in my back pocket. And that's because I've got the drawing, I've got everything where I want it, as it was in my photograph. Now, I'm using my own colours. I know the colour of trees. I know the colour of the stone I want. Don't stick slavishly to a photograph. Put your own stamp on it. I shall go in with some shadow in that in a minute. So that's number 8 round brush. And just fill it in. I'm thinking, Gail, I'll let you have an opinion on this. Not that I could stop you. Am I going to leave those as barn doors or am I going to put them in as windows?
Barn doors.
Barn doors, okay. I was hoping you were going to say windows, but there we go. Again, raw umber and burnt sienna. This time, a touch of ultramarine blue as well. There. A bit more burnt sienna. And there. It's a Van Dyke brown. Raw umber is such a youthful brown. Of course, as I say, I've just made Van Dyke brown there by using the raw umber and burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. So, but also, if I took the raw umber by itself and just put blue into it, I've got sepia. Take the raw umber and just burnt sienna into it, I've got burnt umber. So I've got 4 browns from one tube. A lovely brownish raw umber. And a little bit there. Are you still convinced about that, girl?
Well, they're a bit big, so we're just windows, aren't they?
Okay, whatever you say.
They could still be windows.
What, brown windows?
Could be reflecting.
Oh yeah, okay, fine. You just try a street light, you know, aren't you? And everybody will write in and say, God, Gail was right. Yeah, of course, yeah, was there. A few touches of that in there. And a few little bits across there. Still with that same colour. And just a few touches. And in a minute, I'll put some shadow on there. Bit dark on that side. There, that's the building more or less done. While that's carrying on drying, that's a no. I'm just going to go to the background trees there. Just in case those of you haven't seen these before, Gail is a master of hand movements. The simplest of sentences can be done with one hand movement. Can't they, Gail?
Can you always know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what that means.
That's a
The universal language.
Gail language, you mean?
Yeah.
The language of the witch. Bit of yellow ochre there. That's just yellow ochre. Like so. And now yellow ochre into hooker's green. It's a bit of hooker's green up there and a lot of yellow ochre. There. Plenty of water. There. And again, still with my number 8 round brush this. Just drop it in and let it run amongst the yellow ochre, leaving a bit of yellow ochre showing here and there on the tops. In there. across there. Got a hedge there, which will be darker in a minute. Dipping in. Now, like I say, a lot of yellow ochre in that green. Again, for those of you that don't know, Hooker's green is about the most versatile colour in your box. If I take Hooker's green out of the equation of the 8 colours I use all the time, mix the other 7 in one at a time, I've got 7 different lovely greens. Mix a third colour into some of the greens, I've got about 5 secondary greens. I've got loads of greens. And you never end up with a mud, it's always a nice clean green. Like that. I'm not going to bore you with the history lesson about Mr. Hooker, for whom the green was made. A bit of that, around the building carefully. Now, just blue, ultramarine blue. Again, plenty of water into it. Drop that in there, mainly, and the building. And you'll have seen me thinking about where I wanted my light to be coming from. Now it's fairly clear that it's coming from the left, because I've got a light side on that side of the building and a dark side on that side. So I'll have a few bits of blue up here to the right hand side of some of these clumps. And a little bit down the bottom. And just because the green is still wet, it's spreading nicely. And now I'll let that dry. Now, the building's dry. Those trees behind aren't, but the building's dry enough now for me to finish that off with the shadow on it. So it's a little bit of ultramarine blue, a touch of alizarin crimson. So I've made a naff purple and tone it back with a touch of burnt sienna. Yeah, that's my shadow done. A bit more red actually. There we go. Yummy! And I'm going to put that to the left hand side of that. And that. And then where the roof joins the building. Nice broad line there. A little bit there. And a little bit cast onto the roof there. That's the building done. Just soften that at the bottom of it. That's better. Easy peasy. Now to my 3/4 inch brush, got that hedge there and a little bit of field in between there and a little bit there as well. So yellow ochre to start with, 3/4 inch wash brush this, and nice and light there on the top of that hedge. That splits the two now. Can you see that, Gail? Now, Hooker's green and burnt sienna this time. Remember, for the trees I used Hooker's green and the yellow ochre. Now it's burnt sienna. Darker for in there. And a little bit of that underneath there. And because the yellow ochre's still wet, they're running into each other, merging into each other. But I'm leaving yellow ochre showing on the top. A bit there. Corner of the 3/4 inch brush there. There. Now, just yellow ochre. For that bit of field there. All the way across. I'm going to have a little bit of that there as well. I'm going to strengthen the yellow ochre a little bit from there. Starting to make sense now, isn't it?
It is.
Now to my number 8 round brush and Hooker's Green and Burnt Sienna again. I've got a bit of bush there on the side of the building. Which kind of like ties the building down to the ground a little bit. With that little bit of rough green underneath as well. Bit of overgrowth, undergrowth, whatever, at the base of the building. There. That's a lovely sound, that little fountain, isn't it?
Mm.
Gail bought a solar powered fountain for the bird bath. The problem is, it goes.
Every time there's a breeze, it blows all over the side.
It goes through more liquid than my Range Rover. You're filling up the bird bath every 5 minutes because it's spread it all over the place. Now, a little bit of blue again. Just ultimate blue. A bit of that in there. A bit underneath as well. I'll do it. Now, I'm going to finish off this area and then I'm ready for big trees when it gets to that bit. All will become clear. And I've got a little bit of the road there. So for that, I'm going to use ultramarine blue and a touch of light red. A bit like that. And just fill that in there. So, and whilst I'm in with it, I might as well fill that bit in there as well. Remembering the grass sticking up there. Like I say, that's ultramarine blue and light red. And that disappears just there. And bring it down to the top of the bridge. Now just with a clean brush, the bit in the distance, I'm going to take a bit of light out there, look. See, just sucking a bit of paint out. There. Now it's time for the bridge. I'm going to do the further away side first. So again, Charles Evans' son. I've got to be fairly quick with this, so I'm going to do that side first and then do that side. So there's no chance of it drying in between times. So starting off with Charles Evans' sand again. And my number 8 round brush. Just dab it in there. And you can see already the road's dried because it hasn't run in. Now a little bit of yellow ochre, plenty of water again, drop that in there, a few touches, and a little bit of raw umber. I want lots of colours in this, which will kind of like merge together, but you will see it's just not just a flat colour. A bit of raw umber. A bit more umber. And And a little bit of blue, ultramarine blue. And drop all the colours in, let them run, let them merge. Looks a mess, doesn't it, girl?
It does look rather
Looks
a
like a bridge with chicken pox. Just let me through there. Got with a little card now. What I'm going to do on the top bit. This is the corner of the card there, like that. And then the rest, spread the card on more. Pressing on quite hard there with the corner of the card. Sorry, it's a bit of advertising there, isn't it? Who is Frank finding to hassle now? Nobody there. You can probably hear who's talking, can't you? There, that's a bit of bridge. How's that go?
Lovely.
Did I get a lovely then?
Lovely.
Cool. Just while that sensitive bit there is drying, because I don't want it to go into here, I'll just pop this brush on here. Again, 3/4 inch wash brush, bit of yellow ochre, and with a split brush, look. Bit there. Hooker's green and burnt sienna. Bit of that. Ooh, it's a bit strong. And burnt sienna. A bit more green. And again with a split brush. That's a bushy bit. Bushy bit, technical term that. And you see how that bit of bush there knocks those further back. Do you see that, girl?
I do see that.
Just checking. Making sure you're alert. Because you know, your country needs alerts. Talking rubbish, aren't I?
Very old joke, that.
Okay. And a little bit of that underneath there as well. That's at the base of the bridge. Stonework. Now for the big side of the bridge. And again, starting off, Charles Evans sand. Number 8 round brush. Bash it on. Actually, I've picked up a bit of something else in there. But that's quite nice. Isn't it?
Pinky, isn't it?
A bit pink. I think I've got a
Alizarin
bit of a alizarin crimson in that somewhere. But there we go. Nice flesh tone that, actually. I'm trying to make it sound like it was deliberate. Rather than being your mistake.
My mistake.
Yeah. It won't be mine, is it?
Nowhere near the palette.
Bash it on, bash it on. Now, I'm not bothering with yellow ochre in this one. It's nearer, stronger. A bit of raw umber. And just plenty of water into it again. Raw umber. Pop that on there. A little bit stronger even. For those of you that don't know about the sand, it's such a useful colour. Mix it into any colour you want and it'll lighten it. You can make some lovely pinks with it. I'm mixing different reds in with it. For me it would be alizarin crimson. It's good as a layering colour. Put that, as I'm doing now actually, put that on at the bottom and then put other colours on top. And let the sand show through. Flesh tone, you know, flesh tone is really difficult to mix in watercolours. Sand and light red, you've got flesh tone, easy as that.
Or blue. Or blue for a dark tone.
Or blue for a dark tone, yeah. Bit of ultramarine blue now. You got me thinking then, because I was just about to go into blue. Bit of blue there, look. Splash that on. And it's all still wet, you can see it running. Yummy. And then now back in with the card. And be quite hard with it, look. On the top bits there. Now, something about that. Isn't that simple? But it all has to be still wet. And go like that. There. Now to finish that bridge off, namely the arch, and a bit of shadow as well. A few twiddly bits of shadow here and there. I'm making black. Never use manufactured black, it's horrible, flat and dead. Ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, however, will give you a lovely black, but it's not flat. Another nice way of making black is alizarin crimson and hooker's green. Bit of water in there, and fill in the archway, but have it wobbly on top. Look, these are old stones. Yeah. Wobbly on top. A technical term for you as well.
I think I'm wobbly on top.
Hmm?
I think I'm wobbly on top.
I think you always have.
I'll rephrase that.
Sorry, was that abusing you then?
No, I'm abusing myself.
Diagonal line there. There's a reason for that diagonal line. I'll think of it in a minute. Around where the grass is, I'm going to go. And a straight line there, more or less. Now with a bit more water into the brush, fill that bit in. And let the black run into there. So it's catching a little bit of light there. How's that go? Now, into that black. There you go, have a look at that.
Sorry.
Into that black, you will be sorry in a minute. Put a touch of alizarin crimson. So I've made the shadow colour. A bit more water in there. Look at that. In there. Carefully around the top of this bit. And now that shadow sinks that wall further back from that one. See what I mean, Joe?
Yep.
A few little bits on top here and there. Not too many. And soften that a little bit now, just with clean damp brush. Soften that across there. See how effective that is?
It is effective.
It just sounds so
Surprised.
Where's my bigger brush gone?
It wasn't in there in the first place.
It was.
Okay, got your bigger brush.
So now that we've ascertained that Gail lost my bigger brush, I've a few little bits in there. Look. on the top of that. Frank, what are you doing?
Scratching.
Just being a dog, Dad, just being a dog. Just a few wiggly squiggly bits. Now, that same colour. Frank, be quiet, otherwise you'll go out. More water into it, and just... God, you and your dogs.
Noisy devils.
Back to me, on my head. Just with a lot of water into that shadow mix. Heck of a lot of water. Just glaze through that, look. A little bit untouched. And that kind of like merges it all in. That was almost a technique. Clean down brush. Soften. You've still got the marks in, the stone marks, but they're not in your face. Yeah, good stuff. Now we've got a bit of grass, tall grass, there behind the bridge on the other side of the road. Bit of hooker's green and yellow ochre there. And pop it in there. Down to the road. I would have said path, but it's not, it's a road. There. And now it's time for some big trees. Now I've got a big tree here, but it's not one of these major big ones. A little bit of yellow ochre again, first of all, and it's my number 8 round bush. Pop that in over there. So now hooker's green and light red. Green there. And here's some light red. Remember, light red is not a red made lighter. So don't put a load of water into your cadmium red and think you made light red. You haven't. You made your red lighter. Bit of that in there, look. Let it run amongst the yellow ochre. Leave some gaps here and there. And carefully around the building. Little chimney there. And dab. Now, because I haven't used burnt sienna, it's not as strong a green. It's darker, but it's not as strong. So that still stays in front. Now a little bit of blue. Touch of blue. Some of that in there. Some down there. And a little bit up there. Wash out, squeeze out, and just dab on and soften that a little bit. Like that. Like that, just like that. Now, ready for the big ones. And again, yellow ochre. Get the light on first all the time. And I'm still with my number 8 round bush. But this time, the colours are all getting a little bit stronger. Yellow ochre there. A bit stronger just there. There. So that sticks in front. And now hooker's green and burnt sienna. There's my hooker's green and my burnt sienna. That's a little bit too strong, Evans. That's better. Now more water into it. There we go. Just dabbing on, but leave a few gaps here and there. Nice strong green that, but it's not at its strongest yet, he said ominously. Nice and dark down here. And just dabbing. I went for a minute without saying anything then, Gail. You noticed that?
I thought the sound had gone.
No, I'm here. And in behind there. I almost did it again. I almost said any questions. Get so used to demonstrating in front of people. I did that when I was doing on the beach once, painting. I was standing by myself, halfway through a canvas, and I said any questions.
Really?
Yes.
Bloody hell.
It becomes... Did you just swear then?
Bloody hell.
Okay. It becomes second nature. A few dabs on there of blue. Nice and dark in there, look. Nice rich green. A bit more blue. And you pop it in. I'm making sure that this is going to sit behind that one. There's going to be strong light here. Yellow over. A couple of fingernail jobbies, little fingernail. You just committed Harry Kelly there, yeah? And just drag upwards. And back. That'll do for that. Now I've gone to my rigger brush, my number 4 rigger, and black, with me blue, and burnt sienna. Bit of water into that. And let's have some twiggy bits in here first. Like so. Most of these I'll be covering up when I put the foliage in, but at least when I leave gaps in the foliage, I am going to see some bits of tree sticking through. Does that make sense to you, Bill?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Of course, I have no idea what I just said. There's another one there, actually. Just because I can. And now I'll let those dry before I put the foliage on that one. We're nearly done with this, actually. Now it's back to my 3/4 inch brush now, 3/4 inch flat, and yellow ochre again. Nice and strong. A little bit of water into that. And now a split brush. Stick on that up. Get the light on there first. As I said, I'm painting through the boughs that I'd painted before. But you'll still see them here and there, even when I get the dark green on there. Now, Hooker's green and burnt sienna. And I've just gone into blue for some reason. Hooker's green and a lot of burnt sienna. Bit of that there. There, look at that lovely dark rich green. A bit more green actually. That's better. Plenty of water. And again, split brush. These brushes, by the way, that I am splitting and really abusing, they will take any amount of abuse. And I also use them for my acrylics. And again, stipple. But I'm being really hard with the brush in the palette. Watch. Really hard. So I'll split the brush, but then go on gently on the paper. Because if you press hard, it'll close the brush up again, won't it? Mm. So keep it split. Light on there. Clear as mud, really, isn't it?
The light touch.
Yeah. Sometimes be violent, sometimes be gentle, basically, with your brush. Keep splitting that. And a little bit over there. Now a bit of blue. Okay. This time it's got a touch of burnt sienna in it as well. More blue. There you go. And again, split the brush. Nice and dark down there. Now that tree really takes over, doesn't it, Gail?
It does.
Fortunate that, really, isn't it? Tap on in there. A little bit of digital art. Just dabbing lightly. The tip of my finger just softening some areas. And then we're ready for a couple of lighter bushy bits. Now again, yellow ochre. Plenty of water there. And my round brush. Pop on there. A few dabby bits. You're making a note of all these technical terms. Now, hooker's green and yellow ochre. Come back to a lighter green. There's my hooker's green. There's my yellow ochre. And yeah. And plenty of water. Frank's gone quiet for a change.
Where is he?
Behind you.
Probably step on him in a minute.
I've just heard a deep sigh. Like, I'm bored. Give me someone to bark at.
I'm sure I'll have an Amazon delivery soon.
Amazon delivery, yes. Girl has shares in Amazon, you know. I said before on another video, when they decide to bring out the drone deliveries, the airspace above this house will be like Heathrow. I'm just dabbing on a few more bits. More water in that. Oh, that's slightly darker there, but that's fine. And bringing that down to the top of what will be grass. Now a little bit of blue again. Plenty of water. Actually, it's going to be quite a long video, this, isn't it?
It is.
You know how I know that? Oh. Because I'm ready for coffee. Now, just to clean that brush and tap on, soften it. Now there's just a bit of grass here that comes down to the bank. I keep saying river, it's actually it's a brook really, isn't it? What's the difference between a river and a brook?
There's less water in a brook.
Okay. You just made that up, didn't you?
No.
Now, Hooker's Green and yellow ochre, just a touch of yellow ochre, just a touch of Hooker's Green, sorry. And bring down there. Up to the brook. But instead, if you look through this picture now, look at all the different greens going on in there, in that picture. Mm-hmm. All with one green, Hooker's Green. And again, a few flicky bits there. Now the next bit in this is to actually paint the brook in. Before I do that, I want this lot to dry a little bit. So Gail, you can have a 2-minute rest.
Excellent.
You see, my generosity knows no bounds. There, I'll leave that, let it dry, then we'll come back to the brook. Now back to my 3/4 inch brush, and this is ultramarine blue, because that's the blue of the sky. A tiny touch of Hooker's Green, and a little tiny touch of burnt sienna, and plenty of water. And this is for the water. What I'm doing, look, with the 3/4 inch brush, have a few bits of white showing through, a few wobbly bits. That'll just give you a bit of movement on the water. Like so. Using the corner of the brush. It's a noisy car, isn't it?
Mm.
Stupid exhaust. And again, leaving a few white bits here and there. There used to be, I mean, I've got the sand colour, which people could never mix, but there used to be another one, or another two actually, called Mediterranean Sea, Charles Evans Mediterranean Sea, and Charles Evans British Sea. And I tell people how to mix them these days because they're just so easy to make. And this, basically, is the Charles Evans British Sea. Ultramarine blue, touch of Hooker's Green, touch of burnt sienna. And the Mediterranean Sea is cobalt blue, touch of Hooker's Green, touch of light red. Now a little bit more water into the same brush full of paint. I haven't washed it out as such and I haven't put any more paint in. I'm just going to soften some of the white bits up. And then we're ready for this foreground piece of grass when that's dried, and we'll be done. Now that's dry now, but before I do this, so that I can still get my hand on there, I want to just finish off those little bits there. And ultramarine blue, touch of alizarin crimson, and a touch of burnt sienna. Again, the shadow colour. More blue. Plenty of water, and I just want to put some shadow in there. A little bit underneath the base of that grass to start with the corner of the brush. See what a little sharp edge you can get with the corner of a flat brush. And then a little bit across there. For shadow over there. That was Bert leaving.
Throwing himself down onto the floor.
Oh, okay.
Right behind you.
Okay. Soften that a little bit there. And a bit of shadow there. Now, a little bit of that just here as well. Bit of shadow there. Again, corner of the brush. And a little bit there. Now, grass is in the front. Grass is in the front. Actually, I just thought I'd darken that a little bit there underneath the bridge. Yeah, that's all right. Now, yellow ochre. Plenty of water. And let's have some flicky bits. Goes down here. And a few bits down here. Now, hooker's green and yellow ochre. Hooker's green and a lot of yellow ochre. Because we've got quite an expanse to fill in here. And you know what it's like, you hear the experts tell you, always make sure you mix enough mix because you're never going to be able to repeat that mix again. What a load of crop. If you run out, mix it again. Simple as that. There we go, a bit of hooker's green, yellow ochre. I think I'm probably heated by some of my rumming.
By who?
Some of my contemporaries. Because it's not job for the boys. I tell it how it is. If it's not difficult, then it's not difficult. Don't make it difficult. Now coming in down here. Using a few bits of yellow ochre showing through here and there as well. A bit more green into the mix there. Tone is slightly darker there. And again, flicking up. That's some taller bits. With the sharp of the flat wash brush, just tap on them like that. Bits there, look. Just dabbing on. And again, at the base, flick up. Yeah. Easy peasy. And coming down again now. Flicking up as well. Now, can you see what I was talking about earlier? Look at all the different greens going on in that painting.
Yeah.
All with the same green.
Excuse me.
You choking, Gav? Can't imagine why, because he said remarkably little today. I haven't had your normal criticisms going on at the back now.
He doesn't to criticise, I.
Oh, gosh. Good God. Now I'm even more worried. A few more sharp bits there, look. A couple of bits there as well. Oh, I like those bits. But again, with the sharp look. You see how versatile a 3/4 inch flat is? I love them. Just as well. More bits there. and a bit of blue. Put them in blue. A few bits of that down here as well, nice and dark down here in the foreground. And again, flick up. That was quite a deep bark for bird. Now, just with my fingers, and that's it. All I need to do now is take the tape off. And there we go, picture finished. Not that difficult really, just a lot of different greens going on. And remember, the important bits, with the stonework, make sure you're getting in with the card while it's still wet. Otherwise you don't want to scrape off. But a fairly simple scene, quite a lot going on. Hopefully you enjoyed that one. The stuff I'm using, aquafine paints, aquafine brushes, and it's a 1.5 inch flat, 3/4 inch flat, number 8 round, and a number 4 rigger. That's it, that's all the brushes I use. And that doesn't mean for this painting, that means ever. So 4 brushes, very few colours, all aquafine. And the paper I'm using, again, is aquafine. And we've got that here. Excuse me, Bert. Inspector, thank you. Langton Rough, did I say aquafine? Langton Rough, £140 weight that. And I never pre-stretch paper. And you've got like 2 surfaces in there. A rougher surface and a smoother surface on the other side, and be careful not to dirty it. But we also have the other paper, which is aquafine paper, and that's cheaper than the Langton, but still a really good paper. And have you noticed on the cover again, because I've just noticed, they've used my shadow mix.
Oh yes. Yeah.
They didn't ask me for that. Now, watercolour books, I've got a few. Charles Evans pocketbook, which shows you how to do things stage by stage, and there's lots of projects in there, lots of tips in there. If it all goes wrong, watercolour rescue, how to put it right, using some of Gail's pictures, which are called Gail's fails. And the Anyone Can Paint Coastal Landscapes, really nice book that, sells really well as well, and it's got the tracing in the back, or the drawings in the back, that you can copy or trace over. So plenty to see, plenty to do, and it's all on the website charlesevansart.com. And I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.